people, that we can't countenance. But to my son, I would say, you're given an opportunity. The sun that shines within the prison is the same sun that shines outside. The winds that blow, the spirits, that murmur and purr to you within your spirit can't ever be confined. They will come to you. All the eternal truths are in prison and outside of prison. Some societies, more than 50% in the Buddhists, more than 50% of the society are monks. They live in cells. The privations and deprivations that jail begets are the same things they choose. You have been given a holy life. See that part of it. You become larger. All of the eternal truths are present in and out. There's no way that they can be dissolved. So we're Western materialists, so we have this notion, of confinement. There's no confinement. There's never confinement. They can't confine. That's an illusion. The mind's free, and the inner mind is vast. This is preaching. This is evangelistic. This is what I tell my kid. All right, so what I want to introduce, that's how hard I feel about it. So then you start to size up, why do I feel that hard? What are the underpinning? What's the rational, underpinning? What's the theories? What's the logic? Why? Why do I feel that way? Why am I here then preaching this kind of view that presumably in this debate, Mr. Robinson will probably very ably, refute. And so I start then, and this is just me thinking why I come out the way I come out. So let's start in dimensions. You take the person that turns, the person that rats, the person that becomes a snitch, the person that participates in the Judas syndrome, the person that turns over his friends, his family, his mother maybe, his father, maybe his brother. Take that person. You doing any good for that person? Does it do any good? Is it something wholesome? Are we, rehabilitating? Are we regenerating his moral value? No, we have destroyed that person. We have totally destroyed him. He's like, not like, say, have you ever seen a tree that has snapped in the wind? There's still a boldness and a strength, and there's a courage in the broken trunk. But the tree that bent, in the wind, that's sad. That's gone. That's depressing. No one likes to look at that. Because one of the strongest things of natural selection, this is why it's so bad. We have natural selection, and therefore loyalty to family, loyalty to tribe, loyalty to your, call it environment, loyalty ultimately to nation. It's connected. It's a deep sea. If you don't believe, in I don't know what you want to call it, universal instincts, then through natural selection, that's the most important thing there is for survival. And that's why treason's always been so terrible. That's why the Judas image has always horrified everyone. That's why in every society they have banned people who have been disloyal. They have banned them. They have killed them. We still kill them if they are treasonous in battle. It's always been the highest crime is to go against yourself, your family, your friends, your ideology, those who have nurtured you, those who have supported you, those who are the ones that will perpetuate your species. That's why always the strength has died to allow the facility of the friends or family or tribe to exist. You must sacrifice yourself. So that's a deep-seated, call it instinct. It's a deep-seated conditioned response. It's a, dare I say, a moral precept that is universal, that exists in all levels of civilization. Loyalty to your tribe, loyalty to your family, death before you will disown and disvalue and undermine their right to exist. It's so strong that when you turn that over, you destroy that human being. He's destroyed. He's never the same. You think you've done him some good? You think you've turned him around? You think you've rehabilitated him? You think that, now that he says big brother is smiling, revisited upon his moral structure, some kind of newfound pragmatic code? You've done nothing but kill him. He would have been prouder in prison. His friends would have saluted him. He would have been a symbol of strength and courage and resistance. But now you, who have turned him over, you have participated in his Judas syndrome, have totally annihilated him as a moral human being, because he's gone against everything that is instilled in every society in the youth, loyalty. So that's first. That's what I think first. Are you doing, any good to the person? Let's go next to what I'll call the judicial system. Because we're interested in the judicial system, yet it's a smaller part of a greater issue. If there was a judicial system, and I dare say there has probably been, where on one side they would go out and they would bar witnesses. Let's just say, well, this is the way we do it in this X country. We do have a kind of an adversarial system where one side goes against the other, but one side goes out and it buys one witness here for $10,000, another one for $20,000, three over here a little cheap, three for $15,000, and then the other side, it can go out and it can buy as many witnesses as it can get, and then you bring them in, and the witnesses will testify for the pay that they get. Would anyone think that is a wise way to run a judiciary system? Is that the truth-seeking process at its finest hour? Is that, in every culture, religion, let's just say, is a centerpiece. Let's say family is the centerpiece. The way you derive, your sustenance, the economics is a centerpiece. But somewhere there, justice. How a civilization deals with justice. That's got to be a meaningful attribute of every culture. And then the truth-seeking process within the system of justice has to be evaluated in every civilization. And if they're all paid witnesses on both sides, then how high is that civilization? What does truth mean? What does justice mean? It means nothing. Well, what are we doing, especially in the federal court? We're saying that one side could go out and buy witnesses. The others, if we buy witnesses, that's a fucking crime. We would be prosecuted for it. They buy witnesses, not so crudely, with cash money, although that has occurred in the past where cash rewards are given. I've had cases where they've given up to $30,000 cash in a suitcase, just like a dope deal. The narcs are giving it to their informant who's heading for some unknown federal witness protection place. They had that way in the past. But no, far more precious. They're money. They give liberty. We give you 10 years of your liberty. We give you 20 years of your liberty. We give you you be anonymous and you be completely free. Nobody knows. We are creating a judicial system that's predicated on paid informants, paid with liberty, the most precious commodity, that exists. And dare we say that is just? Dare we say that is in pursuit of justice? Dare we say that is an underpinning, a foundation for a just system? No. It's an utter disgrace. It's mocked. It's ridiculed by any intellectual perspective, by other countries, by history itself. And someday, in retrospect, this would be looked at as a very dark and gloomy period for the American judicial system. And if other judicial systems follow in the footsteps of paying witnesses to testify with liberty more precious than money, then the notion, let's just say, of justice and the notion of freedom certainly will have to go. So what I say is, first, the individual is destroyed that participates in it. Secondly, the judicial system that participates in it is destroyed. The third level is far worse. This is really why I let my kid die before I would advise him to snitch, or I would let him, be a heroic penal colony member before I would let him snitch. It destroys the adversary system. There's no adversary system. You forfeit that which you think you embrace. You see, if everyone, and it's ultimately coming at you, that. The dissident voice receives all of the snitches. I get a case, one snitch, well, we'll beat one motherfucking snitch, you know, then by the time you get to trial, there's 5 snitches. They all roll the top on you, they roll the side on you, roll the bottom of you. Total oppression, total conquest is what is in the mind of the government. Total victory. They want to vanquish all opposition. Anyone who opposes, no matter where on the ladder you are, that's the one that they will turn everyone over, and they don't give a shit if the snitch is lying or the snitch is telling the truth. What they want is total control. They're not lawyers, they're oppressors in the U.S. Attorney's Office who go into this phony fiction that is serving any adversarial function. And what happens ultimately is there is only one side. You who think that you serve, you know, somehow the defense, you serve the prosecution, there won't be an adversary system. Everyone will submit. Everyone will be vanquished. There will be, you know, no 2 sides. Everyone will turn over. And what does that mean? That means totalitarianism. That's where we're going. Don't you see that? That the snitch, the informant, the conspiracy concepts, the reverse sting concept, that is our path toward totalitarianism, to eliminate adversarial system, to eliminate jury trial, to ultimately eliminate us lawyers. Don't you think when they get through snitching everyone else, they're going to be snitching us? Aren't they snitching us now? Have you had a good open conversation with someone you didn't know lately? Do you walk around the block like I do? Got to walk around the goddamn blocks, make sure traffic is noisy, turn up the radio, talk to them through the fucking radio, you know? They've attempted to snitch me, as I know that they've attempted to snitch many in the room. I've had them come wired in my office with a fucking kilo of cocaine saying, hey man, you know, I owe you some bread, you know. Like right downstairs was the DEA ready just to pounce. Thank God it wasn't a gram. A kilo would kill me. I'm non-mercantile. But what ultimately it leads to a totalitarian system where there is no whatever remnant of true adversarial process. That's the worst. We can sacrifice the psyche of some and the judiciary for others, but the total, whatever you want to call it, you know, political consciousness of a country will ultimately be undermined. The more informants, it's a direct equation, the less Fourth Amendment, First Amendment, whatever, less constitutional rights. It's direct. And so in a certain sense, as in our ecology, what they say, the contemporary the miners, canaries are dying. See, our miners, canaries of freedom are dying with the informant system. It's a system that doesn't lead anywhere other than the annihilation of the individual, the annihilation of the judicial process, and ultimately the annihilation of the entire adversary system. It will become a totalitarian state. So in a certain sense, I warn, you know, I think we all know that, but there's no need. You know, wherever there's a clash ideology, wherever there is like warfare, there's always going to be some who succumb, some who compromise, some who betray, some who through cowardice or through motivation will be disloyal. That's encountered everywhere. But we're in a war. The metaphor war on drugs brings up, the metaphor that we are warriors, and it's better to die, in defeat than to be victorious, as an element of victory on the other side. So, I don't know. We don't have a lot of time. I had other areas, but I think that will suffice. Thank you.